Now we will start our formal lecture with chapter 1. Title of chapter 1 is Effective Communications in Business. We will discuss in this chapter about definitions, components and non-verbal communication. This is chapter 1 of your recommended textbook, that is Effective Business Communication by Herta A. Murphy. So first of all, we will define what is communication. Communication is the process of sending and receiving messages. It is a process, and process is always a stepwise concept in which the process is only completed in a cyclical way. So communication can also be defined as the process of exchanging information, data, ideas and opinions. So communication consists of the exchange of information between two parties, exchange of data between two parties, exchange of ideas and opinions. So these all includes in communication. Here is also a definition of communication, which is I think is comprehensive definition, which you should take in your course. This is by Herta A. Murphy in 2001. Communication is a process of transmitting and receiving verbal and non-verbal messages. First of all, you have to ponder on this word transmitting and receiving. So communication is transmitting and receiving verbal as well as non-verbal messages. Like the communication is not only when you speak something, when you write some letters. It is also without any letters written, without any words spoken. Yeah, means if you, for example, if your teacher asks you understood and you just shake your head, yeah, this is also shaking your head is also your communication non-verbal message that you have understood. And if we have to say no to someone, we shake your head like in sideways, like this means that no. So you don't have to speak any word, you don't have to write any word. This is also a communication. So communication is considered effective when it achieves the desired reaction or response from the receiver. First of all, communication is what? Transmitting and receiving what? Messages. Which type of messages? Both verbal and non-verbal. All are included in communication. So now we are going into the second step. If this is communication, then what is effective communication? Communication is only effective when it achieves the desired reaction or response from the receiver. It is considered only effective. Effective means useful when the sender, when the speaker, when the writer achieves the desired reaction from the person to whom the speaker is speaking. To the means from the listener, from the receiver, from the reader. So if the sender achieves the desired reaction, what he or she wants to get from that, it is effective communication. Simply stated, communication is a two-way process of exchanging ideas or information. Kuntz in 1984 also gave another definition of communication, that is the means by which behavior is modified, change is effected, information is made productive and goals are achieved. This is some typo error. Goals, this is goals and this is achieved, ACHIEVED. So it is the means by which behavior is modified. This is communication through which we can modify the behavior of someone. This is communication through which change is being made effective. This is communication through which information can be made productive. This is communication through which goals are achieved. This definition is given by Kuntz in 1984. Now we will define effective business communication. And this word effective business communication consists of three parts: effective business communication. So we will define each part of this term separately. Number one, we will define business. Business is defined as any legal activity undertaken for the sake of generating profit and satisfaction is called business. So any legal activity which exists for the sake of what? For generating profit. Ultimately generating profit, but we take what in our businesses? In businesses we satisfy the needs of the customer. We target any need, we target or any or many needs of the customer, and we satisfy. Ultimately what we want to do, we want to make profits. Or business is the activity of making, buying, selling or supplying of goods and services for money. So if it is business, then why we need what is communication? This is communication. So this is business and this is communication. So what is effective business communication? So effective business communication is the communication that facilitates the business deals in and outside of the organization. Means both internal and external communication. Means like business, that communication that facilitates business. So what is business? Business is activities which are undertaken for profits, like buying, selling, supplying of goods. These are all for money. So the communication is only is if business is business communication when we do all these things in and outside of organization, not personal. So this is business communication. Business communication is the communication required in order to make business deal. Here you just have to separate the business communication from the personal communication. Then this is the term which we are interested in, that is effective business communication. So what is effective business communication? Here this word effective is very important. This is the main word in which we are focusing over this course. We everyone communicates, everyone can communicate, but the thing we have to be our concern is about, like we have to have a effective business communicator. Effective is what? Effective is, the word effective means to get the desired result is to be effective. To be effective means you should get the desired result, not only for communication, it also for any activity, any task is only effective when you achieve the desired result. For example, I gave my student a task that please inform Mr. ABC that the conference call would not be held today for any business deal, and I assign up a student that responsibility that this communication should be done in before the conference time starts, so that nobody gets bothered or disturbed by unawareness about the change of schedule. So if the students come to me and says I called and he didn't answer my call, and then I called, I went to his home and he was not there, and this and that, and whatever the reason he or she gives me, but the final result is that the communication was not made. The desired result which I wanted from the communication was not achieved, so it is not effective communication. So what is effective communication? Effective communication is the communication that is used within formal business environment and produces desired results and outputs is called effective communication. So here importance is given on that it produces desired results and outputs is called effective communication. For example, a company is of computer and electronics selling company, and they want a financial review of their business, and they write a letter to financial analyst or organization, or to a financial analyst that please do a review of our firm. So in this written communication, what's the desired result is they want to have a report on a financial report on their business or financial review of their business. So this communication would be effective only and would be completed when that report that financial review is given to the sending organization, that is the organization or business which are dealing with computers and electronics. Or effective business communication can also be defined as the act of influencing and inducing others to act in the manner intended by the speaker or writer. Here, communication, what we are doing in communication, we are communicating to influence, we are communicating to induce, we are communicating to stimulate, to direct, to redirect others in the manner which are intended by us, in the manner like I want this, I want to get done something, then as a sender I will influence through my communication, I will influence the sender or the receiver, the recipient, the listener, the reader. If I am writer, then the recipient is the reader. So the reader, the listener, I am influencing, I am redirecting in the way I want to do, in the way I intend to do. Okay, so effective business communication is the act of influencing and inducing others to act in the manner intended by the speaker or writer. So now we will discuss about the importance and benefits of effective communication. What is the importance of effective communication? Like why should we should have effective communication? Is it that important? Yes. So important of communication is both for organization, in both as organizational, from the organization perspective, is also important for our professional development. And because the ability to communicate well has always provided advantages to those who possess it. And the communication has a rich history, and its traditions can still be seen in modern day communication concepts. So it is very important to make our communication effective, and before that we should be having an idea of what types of communication exist in organization, which we need to focus on to make it more effective. So and also communication is very important. This sentence tells us that communication is the lifeblood of every organization, and we have discussed what is organization. Organization is a group of people associated for business, political, professional, religious, athletic, social, or other purpose. So for any purpose there is a group of people, for they are together for a common goal to achieve. So in organization, who are the entities working for people? There are human, so human inside in and who are consisting an organization, so they have to interact and react with each other, that is they communicate. So they exchange information in the organization, they exchange ideas, plans, order needed supplies, they make decisions, rules, proposal, contracts and agreements. So communication is the lifeblood of every organization. Now we will discuss about internal organization communication system and external organization communication system. Internal communication system integrates all the managerial functions. You might have studied about the managerial functions. There are 5 managerial functions: planning, organizing, staffing, meeting and controlling. So communication integrates all the managerial functions. Then for external communication includes the communication both at micro level and macro level. It relates an enterprise to the external environment. That in external communication the organization communicates or relates or integrates with the external environment. And the environment is divided into again two levels, micro level and macro level. In micro level, if the organization interacts with customer, it is micro level external communication. Then so with supplier, with stakeholders. What are stakeholders? Stakeholder, anyone who has vested interest in the organization is stakeholder. And then distributor and competitor. Distributor, competitor. Then if the organization relates with the macroeconomic environment, like macro level, that is the big external or environmental forces. If they interact the organization with these 5-6 forces, then it is macro level external organizational communication. These forces can be memorized by memorizing a word PESTEL. PESTEL. P for political forces, political environment. If the organization interact with political environment, is external communication. Political environment. E for economical environment. S for socio-cultural environment. T for technological environment. E for ecological, that is air, light, like every ecology, environmental concern. E for ecological, and last L for legal environment. So dealing or communicating with these comes under external organization communication. Then comes internal communication, which was here we discussed here. Organization is the here organizational level, internal communication and external. So we will discuss internal communication. Internal communication is a vital means of attending to company concerns is through effective internal communication. When we we are fulfilling the company concerns on a vital level, on a living level, on which is on a very critical level, that we have to do the internal communication. And internal communication can be done in the following ways: downward communication, upward communication, horizontal communication, and grapevine communication. So we will discuss each communication line in separately. Here downward communication. So what is downward communication? Organizational decisions are usually made at the top and then flow down to people who will carry them out. Here you should see you should be knowing about organizational hierarchy. I will show you the organizational hierarchy here. This is hierarchy of an organization. For example, this is top management, and we were discussing about downward communication. So downward communication, here we were discussing about this. This is like decisions are made at the top, and then when they flow down to people, to subordinates, then it is called downward communication. Here you will see that this is top management. If any information, idea, decision, anything that is, or philosophy that is communicated from top management to this is downward communication. If this person communicates to this is downward communication. If this person communicates to this is downward communication. This to this, downward. This to this, downward. So these are all the examples of downward communication. Then upward communication. To solve problems and make intelligent decisions, manager must learn what's going on in the organization. So this feedback, this report, and these information, data, these are all taken by the managers from their subordinates. So when the subordinates share any report with their manager, when the subordinates give some data to the manager, when the subordinates give any input to the manager, that comes under upward communication. Here if this subordinate gives any information to this or data or report, submits any report to this to his boss, this is upward communication. If this executive gives some report or communicate with this person, this is upward communication. And if he interact with this his CEO or top management, then this is upward communication. Then horizontal communication. Horizontal communication also flows from one department to another. Communication also flows from one department to another. It is always, it's never only within departments. So if the communication is done at the same hierarchical level, then or it can be lateral. In this way means sideways, it can be lateral, it can be diagonal. So these are both are horizontal communication. So in here we can see for the horizontal communication is if this person interacts with this, like we are interacting with colleagues at the same level, this is all horizontal communication. This is one department, for example, this is one department, this is another department, this is another, and this is another department. If these person are interacting with each other, this is horizontal communication. If these departments are interacting with each other, this is horizontal communication. Even if diagonally, like this person is interacting with this person interacting with this, so this is also the horizontal communication. Then we have grapevine communication. Grapevine communication is basically does not have like downward. It has a certain flow or pattern, like it is always downward, it is always upward, it is horizontal or lateral or diagonal. But in this grapevine communication, this is basically does not have any pattern, and it can be done in any direction, any time, any point of time. It is basically a informal communication network. First of all, we see what is, we will see the definition, then we will see the diagram of this type of communication. Informal communication network supplements official channels. People have casual conversations at work. Most deal with the personal matters, but about 80% of the information on the grapevine pertains to business. When their people are on work, they don't only share reports with each other, they don't only share data, they don't only share ideas, they don't only share information, but they also talk about different matters. And these matters are 80% of the informal communication are related to business or the work, but 20% are about the personal matters. So whatever they are informal, just they don't have any pattern, and we will see what these are, like grapevine communication. Here I want to show you the network. It is like web of communication. Like one person is talking to the other. Grapevine communication is the informal workplace dialogue in its purest form. It is characterized by the conversation between employees and superiors, and that do not follow any prescribed structure or rule-based system, like employees to superiors, superiors to subordinates, and lateral communication, upward communication. Sometimes it is upward, sometimes it is downward, sometimes it is lateral. So it gives a structure of web here. This is grapevine communication. It doesn't have any pattern. This is grapevine communication, this is grapevine communication, this is grapevine communication. You might have heard about Chinese whisper. You might have uh, played this game in your childhood. Like Chinese whisper is like one person says something into other person's ears, and whatever the other person whatever the other person gets idea, he delivers the what, whatever he understood from the one person, delivers that message to other. Whatever he understood, he transmits that message to other, he transmits that message to other, then this person transmits the message to other. In this way, the last, if we ask the last person what the first person said, then this thing would be totally changed from what the initial speaker initiator has told in the second person's ears. So this is how grapevine communication works. In grapevine communication is never reliable. One person says this and messages totally change when it reaches the last receiver, and the first person, the initiator of the communication, would be so surprised to listen that to the to what the last person heard about the message he initially started. So this is informal communication pattern known as grapevine communication. Now, benefits of effective internal communication. Why we should be doing all the internal communication in an effective manner. So here, when managers are communicating with their subordinates, they should be communicating in an effective manner that would generate effective downward communication. And when employees receive appropriate downward communication from management, they can be better motivated and more efficient. And they need not only clear job directions and safety rules, but also facts about the organization strategy. They would be learning more and more. They would be learning more and more about organization products, and they would be learning and having idea about more and more on the viewpoints on the important controversial issues in the organization. So they would be more clear if there is a effective downward communication. They are concerned about employee benefits. The managers are, they are concerned about health care, they are concerned about insurance, promotions, pensions, training, work environment, retirement. So in all, the many pressures from the employees force employers to be accountable for their decisions through effective downward communication. So employers who communicate effectively have more productive employees. So that's why there should be effective downward communication, which would be very much beneficial, because in turn these are employees who are going to work and will achieve the organization goals and make the organization profitable ultimately. So another is effective upward internal communication. Second one, how it can be beneficial. Likewise, upward internal communication has become increasingly more important. Many executives sincerely seek frank comments from their employees. In addition to the usual product reports, uh, not only they get the input, or they know about what's going around the organization, not only through formal reports, they also talk, they give frank comments from their subordinates. So uh, in this way, subordinates or employees or all the uh, workers of a department, they give like uh, informally or informal, maybe a frank comment or frank opinion or about what's going on in the organization. So successful managers listen, and basically the successful manager listen closely to the opinions, complaints, problems, suggestions of the subordinates, especially when they are clearly and effectively stated. So while we are doing upward communication, in order to get in order to get the attention of the manager, to in order to get the desired result, we should have clear and effective communication to our manager. In this way, our opinions, our complaints, our problems, and our suggestions would be listened closely by our managers. As a response to increasing global competition, some companies are developing new management styles which make input from employees as an integral part of the important decisions affecting the company. So in this way, due to increased competition, upward internal communication has taken it a very big place in the organizational communication. Then is effective horizontal communication. Effective horizontal communication is between peers and is also essential in organization in order to solve problems, perform job duties, prepare for meetings, and cooperate on important projects. For example, if you think that all the time is spent in listening to and making requests and writing notes and memos and discussing and writing about projects, then we will sooner or later we will realize that communication is the medium through which an organization accomplishes its goal. So we should be having a horizontal communication for preparing um, for meetings and all. So among various ways of communicating within the companies are basically within companies are memos are for internal communication, letters are for external communication. Like if one organization writing a letter to another organization, it is letter. And if the one organization within organization we are writing a letter, we are making a communication from one department to another, that is memo. So among various ways of communicating within companies are memos, reports, meetings, face-to-face discussions, teleconferences, video conferences, electronic mail. mm, so these are all included in horizontal communication within the organization. Then we will come up to external communication. External communication basically to people outside is effective communication to people outside the organization is effective external communication, and it can help create a good reputation and have a positive impact on its ultimate success, because organization never work in isolation. They have to deal with the external environment, with the competitors, with other suppliers and other organizations. So effective external communication creates a good reputation. So when messages to person outside the company have a far-reaching effect on its reputation and ultimate success of organization. If our right like a letter is written in a right manner, a proposal is written in a very good manner, report is made, telephone call or personal conversation can win back a customer. This disgruntled customer create desire for a product or service, for a offer of a company. A good communication can help negotiate a profitable sale, and they can encourage collections, motivate performance, and in general create a goodwill. So external communication should be very effective, because we can in this way we can increase our customer share, we can make more prospective customers, and we can make the prospective customers to our existing customers, we can retain our customers, and we can generate more sale, we can make our sale more profitable. So external communication should be, even the advertisement is also external communication, a telephonic call, personal conversation, they all are external communication. So these are the benefits I have discussed. So now communication, benefits of effective communication in your career. Why a person, a graduate, and you as you're doing BBA honors from here, from this university, so as a business graduate, this is a must for you to have good communication. And communication is not only like how you speak. Communication is your ability to deliver the right message, what's in your mind, what you should be able to deliver the ideas in your mind in the form of words, in the form of even non-verbal cues, but the exact idea should be delivered in the recipient mind, in the listener mind. So this communication could be, you should be good in communication, in your written communication, your oral communication skills, because many employers basically need communication skill, because this is the only way from where you can uh, translate your ideas into practicality. If you don't communicate what's in your mind, if you don't communicate what are you thinking about that, about a particular situation, if you don't communicate you have a very intelligent solution for that, for a problem to your employer. If you don't communicate, then how? If you don't communicate, what do you what skills, other skills you possess? If you cannot, if you are not able to communicate, then how the people would know that you are what? So in whatever, in whether it is from interviewing, whether it is test, whether it is on job performance, whatever it is, communication is the basic, is a must that you should do in your career. I will discuss the communication, benefits of effective communication in your next class. Till then, I give you a task that search some three advertisements of a job in which they call for a job, they advertise a job, and they state certain job requirements. So go to Google or go to newspaper and search for certain advertisements in which they require business graduates, and focus on the skills. And you will see most of the 90% of the advertisement says the candidate should have good communication skills. So this is your homework that you should bring, you should at least be gone through at 3 advertisements. We will discuss this communication, effective communication importance in the career in the next class. Till then, take care, and go to Harta A. Murphy chapter 1. If you, I hope you have got the course book Effective Business Communication, Harta A. Murphy, Herbert Rebrand, and Jane P. Thomas. Go through that chapter. If you have any question, come up with your question in the class after the end of this video. Hope this lecture was beneficial for you. If you have any comments, any feedback, don't hesitate to give me a feedback on my email ID or in the live class through chat. Till then, have a nice day. Allah Hafiz.